Alright, we need to teach quadratics. This is always the hardest topic in year 10. Why? Because in year 11, do you know what the levels of subject of maths you get to choose at year 11?
Methods.
Methods is top. Next. Essential is bottom. General. Okay? The only topic that really your teacher will look at in year 10 to decide if you can do methods is quadratics. Because being able to do measurement properly, that doesn't help. You can teach that in 5 minutes. Teaching someone statistics to find the average of something, no one cares. Okay? That's very easy. This is the closest to engineering sort of maths that you get up to in year 10. So we're not going to lie and pussyfoot around and say this is easy. It's hard. Okay? So would you agree that that second test was a little easier than the first one? Yep. So this one will be higher than the first one. So, quadratics. You've only dealt with linear expressions. What is a linear expression? That's where x is only raised to the first power. What power is x raised to here? Is there a small 2 up there? There's nothing written there, so it's only raised to the first power. A quadratic is an expression where x is to the second power. For example, this. Is there a 2 here now? Yeah? That is a quadratic. Thus, a quadratic equation is when a quadratic is made to equal something. If I've said that an equation equals something, I can solve it. I can find what x is. The problem is because this is squared, the squared nature of the x variable gives added complication. We don't only have one answer. So the easiest kind of quadratic equation looks like this. X squared is equal to something. I don't know what. The most basic quadratic equation was x equals a number, which we'll call k. Ordinarily, you should be able to answer this. X squared is equal to 4. So what would x be? Yes? 2? Does anyone know what the opposite of squaring something is?
Square root.
Square root. So yeah, you would type square root. In your calculator, you would go square root of 4 is equal to 2. What if I told you that wasn't the only answer? What's another answer? What can I times by itself to also get 4?
Negative 2.
Yes. X is equal to 2. Or negative 2. That's what makes this different. You're in year 10 now. Not babies anymore. That's not the only answer. There's multiple. That's why this is hard. Okay? And that's why I introduce it like this. Because can you see how that should be obvious to people? What do I times by itself to get 4? 2. And then I immediately go, no, that's not the only way. Because do you agree negative 2 times by negative 2 is also 4? There we go. That's the difference here. At this level, you need to realize there can be multiple solutions. So the first thing that could go onto your cheat sheet for this topic is this little box here. To solve equations that look like this, if you've got x squared is equal to k, then I have 3 possible things. X is equal to plus or minus the square root of k. That's exactly what our students did here. Because did you find the square root of 4? What is the square root of 4? 2. And did you say the answer was either plus or minus the square root of that? That's that option. If x could be 0 if k was 0 as well, because what's the square root of nothing? It's going to stay as nothing. And then the last option is if k was negative, you're going to write this. There are no real solutions to this. If you do specialists next year, you'll learn about something called imaginary numbers, but they're the only ones that need to deal with that. For us at year 10 and methods kids, if you try to square root a negative number, you'll immediately say there's no real solutions. Okay? Now you're looking worried and everything, but for our context, you'll see what I mean when we start doing some examples. I'll give you a couple of minutes to just get this rectangle down, please. Go. And then I'll show you how to apply that rectangle. D17, listen speaking. Oh, right now? Yeah, they're doing a test right now. I can send them over in science, like next lesson, is that right? thanks. Alright, at least the YouTube can see it's live. Let's try the rectangle. You're telling me x squared is equal to k. What the hell is wrong with you, Mr. T? That doesn't look like that. Can we make this look like x squared is equal to something? Yes, what would I do?
Take 3 plus that.
Good. So if you took, what's the opposite of adding 3 to something? So x squared is equal to 3. Does this look like one of these situations now? Yeah? Which one? The top one? So what is the answer? X is going to be plus or minus the square root of 3. And the square root of 3 is not a nice number, so you leave it like that. That is your answer. Okay? Give you like 30 seconds, can you get that example? Let's try this one. Do you agree that these look like they get harder as you go? We're not chucking all these exercises at you just for random to keep you occupied. Scientific research shows that you can only get good at something if you repeat it like 5 times at least. You're not going to be good at stuff straight away. I've been teaching this for like 12 years. That's why I can do it off the top of my head. Okay? But you're just trying to get that skill within like a term or something. And this is not easy. Actually, it kind of is if you apply that. So here, does it look like x squared is equal to something right now? But could I make it like that? Could I get rid of this positive 3? What's the opposite of adding 3 to something? Good. So this would look like negative 2x squared equals, what's 7 take 3? 4. What's the negative 2 doing to x squared?
Timesing.
So what's the opposite of timesing by negative 2? Good. So divide both sides by negative 2. What's going to be left on the left-hand side if I've divided both sides? X squared, well done. But what's going to be here? 4 divided by negative 2 would be?
Negative 2.
Oh, we have another situation here. Which situation is that one? X squared is equal to a negative number. 1, 2, or 3? 3. So what do I immediately write? I'm not going to try to square root. I'm trying to square. If I want to get rid of squaring, what do? Square root. But what am I going to try to square root? A negative number. Are you allowed to do that at year 10?
No.
So immediately you would say X, no real solution. If you do specialist maths, there'll be something slightly different. We'll talk about imaginary numbers. Right now, if you try to square root a negative, no real solution. Can you get that one? Down to there. Get that example. Just sit down, relax.
Sorry.
Huh?
I like to stand.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're teachers, we all like to stand. Okay. Grab a coffee. I got this. I've taken the wheel.
I'm landing.
Yeah,
Am I
good.
going to? Explain.
What you guys are gonna feel uncomfortable with is some of your answers are gonna look unfinished. You'll see, like little bits to them. So here, does this look anything like what's here? Yeah, it does. Am I squaring something in brackets? So you can imagine that this is just the x. Ignore the x take 2, okay? Is this a positive number? So which one do I deal with? The top, the middle, or the bottom? The top one. So x take 2 is going to be plus or minus the square root of 25. What is the square root of 5? Okay. I'm not done yet. Not done yet. Because what's the opposite of taking 2 from something?
Adding to.
X is gone. But do I have 2 things here? I got plus or minus. So what would adding 2 to plus 5 be? 7. Or what would adding 2 to negative 5 be? So if I added 2 to negative 5, it's going to be negative 3. Can you see how there's 2 possible answers there? If you don't believe me, we can try it. I can show you. I'm saying that the answer could be 7 or negative 3. So let's try it. 7 take 2 squared. What's 7 take 2? 5 squared is 25. If I put negative 3 in there, what's negative 3 take 2? Negative 5 squared. What's the answer again? So do you agree that both of those answers are actual, still work? That's why it's harder. We'll do 10 now. Can you get that down, please? What's up? You don't like this? It's one topic. Everything after, okay, this is a graph of your maths difficulty as this Ignite group this year. First test, second test, this test, and then everything goes down from here. Why? Statistics, measurement, probability, assignments, etc. At least we get all the hard stuff out of the way straight away, whereas normally the hard stuff is in the middle of the year. One more and then I'll shut my mouth. I won't go through this today. I think they're all like stunned, they're like scared deer. Can we do this last one? Does that look like x squared?
Yep.
Yes. See how last time you said no? This is something squared. This is going to look weird. Is that a positive number? So which one of those situations is it? So top. So x plus 1 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 7. Why do I leave it at the square root of 7? Because the square root of 7 is not 9. The square root of 25 is 5. But if anyone's got that calculator out, can you find what square root of 7 is? Quickly. I don't have time to write that, okay? You leave it as square root of 7. I'm not done yet. What's the opposite of adding 1? So x is going to be equal to negative 1 plus or minus root 7. Does that look unfinished?
Yes.
But I just thought root 7 is more accurate than doing 2.4. So you literally just leave it like that. Can you get that? Now, I'll shut my mouth now, and I need to consider how I'll edit that. Not apologize. Mr. T's class, because you're using the my old books, you're doing 10A. You guys are doing the same thing, but 13A with the second edition one. Yes, it's literally the same question.
Yeah, the questions are up on that.